Okay, everyone. My clock here shows that it's 12 o'clock, so I think we'll go ahead and get started. We'll have some time for questions at the end. Right now, I think I'll shut my camera off now that you've got to see me. You won't need that anymore. And we'll go ahead and get into it. Thank you for coming. So, what is operations management, and why is it important? You know, I believe that every organization is involved in some aspect of it, yet I don't really know of any term that's more misunderstood than operations management. Now, some people might say, well, it's simple. Operations management is about managing operations, but as a teacher, I would caution against defining the term with the term. Others will say operations management, well, it's everything. It just includes everything a business needs. And to me, that seems equally ambiguous and just makes my imagination go wild. It's like saying operations management is like an energy field created by all living things that surrounds us, penetrates us, and binds the galaxy together. No, that would be the Force, according to Obi-Wan Kenobi. Or how about this? Operations management is the nitrogen in our DNA, the calcium in our teeth, the iron in our blood, the carbon in our apple pies. We are made of operations management stuff. And of course, that would be the cosmos, according to the late Carl Sagan, not operations management. Whoops. One thing about doing the presentation here is flipping through some of these slides. Okay. So what I want to do is take a look at some textbook definitions. We'll take a look at the web and see what Google has to say. And we'll check in with some of our leading innovators. Well, what do the authors of our Introduction to Operations Management textbook say? Operations management involves the activities that relate to the creation of goods and services through the transformation of inputs into outputs. And next we could Google on the search term operations management. And I did just that and got about 38 million hits. There's no shortage of definitions about turning inputs into outputs. So I won't go over all 38 million, but just here's a few. Investopedia says operations management refers to the administration of business practices to create the highest level of efficiency possible within an organization. APICS, that's the American Production and Inventory Control Society. They say operations management focuses on the systematic direction of the processes involved in the sourcing, production, and delivery of products and services. And then we have that good old trusted, reliable source. Maybe I should add scholarly source, Wikipedia to that. Operations management is an area of management concerned with designing and controlling the process of production and redesigning business operations and the production of goods and services. So, we see some common themes here. We see definitions talk about transforming inputs into outputs. We see talk of efficiency, and operations management has something to do with the production of goods and services, to which I say, ouch. No wonder 6-year-old Johnny and Susie never mentioned wanting to be an operations manager when they grow up. And no wonder my own children never asked me to speak at Parents' Day. So, what is operations management? Is it only about efficiency, production, goods and services, processes, inputs and outputs, or is it more? So let's see what some of today's leading innovators have to say about operations management. A recent blog article from DePaul University stated, with Elon Musk, it's rocket science. Now you might think the article was describing the scientific and engineering challenges that face SpaceX, but it's not. The article addressed how operations management contributes to the overall success of SpaceX. According to the Harvard Business Review, SpaceX designs, manufactures, and launches advanced rockets and spacecraft. Now listen to this. Prior to SpaceX, a typical U.S. government satellite launch cost about $200 million. SpaceX is able to achieve a per launch price of about $60 million. This is a feat only achieved through the efficiencies gained through the proper application of operations management techniques such as planning, process design, location and layout strategies, and superior supply chain management. I would argue that without operations management, there would be no SpaceX. Amazon.com Inc.'s e-commerce success depends on the high efficiency achieved in its operations management, which directly determines productivity. The company must address the concerns of all of the 10 strategic decision areas of operations management in order to optimize productivity. Here's an interesting factoid. Last year, the typical salary for an operations manager at Amazon was $105,085. Well, hard rock's not just about making great burgers and playing cool classic rock music. The company utilizes all 10 of the strategic operations management decisions, and we'll get into those decisions later in the presentation, such as inventory, product design, location strategy, layout strategy, quality management, to maintain its reputation as one of the biggest and well-known restaurants in the world. Hard Rock Cafe is a food service business founded in London in 1971. The company developed its brand through the themed restaurant experience. And today, Hard Rock Cafe has achieved global status with 145 themed restaurants, 21 hotels, and 10 casinos in 59 countries. Facebook Inc.'s success as the biggest online social media business is based on effectively addressing the 10 strategic decisions of operations management. Each of these areas addresses operational concerns to maximize productivity and overall efficiency in the organization. And another interesting factoid, the typical Facebook operations manager salary is $140,053. To quote Elon Musk, you build the machines that build the machines. He was speaking to a group of Tesla suppliers. Musk was making the point for how important the supply chain is to continued innovation at Tesla. Well, with continued productivity improvements, Tesla produced and delivered about 50,000 vehicles during the second half of 2016, approximately equal to all of 2015. They had a 100% increase in production. Now, how can a very young automaker, one so meticulous in its efforts to make the perfect car, actually boost production levels at such a fast rate and still maintain its high standards? Easy. It's not all about rocket science with Elon Musk. It's about the science and application of operations management. And here's just a sample of some companies, some of the hundreds, really thousands of companies that depend on operations management for their success. For instance, FedEx and UPS enable e-business in part by efficient scheduling of aircraft, trucks, flight crews, drivers, as well as capacity planning at their package sorting facilities. Amazon is leading the retail revolution with next-generation inventory and logistics systems. Nucor still utilizes a performance-based culture as well as lean production to be one of the best steel products companies in the world. Facebook relies on capacity planning to meet the demands for the world's largest social media application. And the innovation at SpaceX and Tesla would not be possible without capacity and planning techniques that ensure gains of efficiency concurrent with technological breakthroughs. Walmart's operations management covers a variety of approaches that are focused on managing the supply chain and inventory as well as sales performance. Once again, the success at Hard Rock Cafe is partly linked to the firm's effectiveness in applying the 10 decisions of operations management and productivity principles and concepts on personnel, such as kitchen staff and wait staff. Virgin Atlantic prides itself in providing a level of quality and customer experience through superior application of modern scheduling, planning, and leadership programs. And finally, Apple computers and Dell computers are able to compete on both innovation and cost through careful management of their supply chains. And that leads us to the Master of Science in Operations Management program here at the university. All of the coursework in the Master of Science in Operations Management program is targeted to 7 program outcomes. The majority of our classes involve 10 strategic operations management decisions. Several courses have the goal of developing leaders. And then we have special courses that focus on specific and innovative opportunities in operations management. And here are 7 program outcomes. For those of you who have not seen this, I want to go through those. And again, 7 program outcomes provide the foundation for all of the coursework in the MSOM program. So program outcome 1, apply the skills and techniques required to lead and manage complex global operations involving processes, technology, and people. Program outcome 2, design plans and controls to create value through strategic, tactical, and operational change. Program outcome 3, design plans and controls to lead and manage multidisciplinary projects. Outcome 4, identify problems, analyze alternatives, and design solutions considering financial, environmental, and societal impact. Outcome 5, use quantitative techniques and models to analyze data to support decision-making. Outcome 6, assess legal, regulatory, professional, and ethical corporate and individual responsibilities. And finally, outcome 7, write and present to stakeholders and senior decision makers. Now, let me go over these again, but I'm going to do it in a different way. To me, these outcomes define the attributes of an operations manager. So, what is an operations manager? Outcome 1, an expert at simplifying a complex issue. Outcome 2, a person who thinks like a strategist and executes like a tactician. Outcome 3, a successful project manager. Outcome 4, a problem solver. Outcome 5, a decision maker. Outcome 6, an ethical professional. And outcome 7, a credible and effective communicator. And then we have the 10 strategic OM decisions. I said I would go over these. The first one is design of goods and services. It summarizes much of what's presented in the other 9 decisions. It also defines the lower limits of cost and the upper limits of quality, as well as addressing issues such as sustainability and human resources. Managing quality is about managing customers' expectations of quality and establishing policies and procedures for achieving quality goals. Process and capacity strategy defines how a good or service is produced, along with aspects of technology, human resources, and capital investments. Inventory management considers how to optimize inventory ordering and holding decisions. Location strategy requires judgments about the nearness to customers, suppliers, and talent. Layout strategy requires integrating capacity needs, personnel levels, technology, and customer demand. Supply chain management decides how to integrate the supply chain into the firm's overall strategy. Human resources and job design determines how to recruit, motivate, and retain personnel. Scheduling determines and implements intermediate and short-term scheduling of personnel and facilities to meet customer demand. And finally, 10, maintenance requires decisions necessary to maintain reliable and stable processes. An important attribute for operations managers is leadership, and several of our courses address the operational challenges of leadership in a rapidly changing world. Now, when the world speeds up, operations managers hit the accelerator. When the economy crashed in 2008, the speed of business didn't slow, it accelerated. Things got faster, and competitive pressures increased. Organizations can't keep up if its employees can't keep up. So if you're one to embrace and lead change, then operations management in the 21st century is for you. You know, it's said that chance favors the prepared mind, but I say that change favors the prepared mind. Operations managers are leaders, and operations management is all about enabling organizations toward change. And then we have special course offerings. Our Associate Program Director, Dr. Rich Ham, has recently pioneered 2 exciting new courses. The first addresses Homeland Security issues that operations managers face since 9/11. And the second course is one that I like to call Drum Ops, which recognizes the role of operations managers in one of the newer, more innovative opportunities for businesses requiring high priority transportation services. So, once again, what is operations management? It is about transforming inputs into outputs, but here's how I like to define it. It's about enabling innovation. It's about sustainable progress, implementing change, improving speed to market, success-driven strategies and processes, and taking appropriate and decisive action. And why is it important? Just ask these employers. It's important to know. And with that, I think we now can take a few questions. What questions do you have? He asked with an open question. Yeah, the operations management, this is from Eli Vergara. If you're not seeing the chat box, he asked, as I consider joining the MSOM, what do you think is the outlook for operations managers' employment, given what you stated at the beginning, that OM is often misunderstood? I think the term itself might be misunderstood, but certainly it's very well understood in the industry. You'll find that whether they're referred to as operations managers or not, pretty much every company has operations managers. You also recall I said at the beginning that I believe that every organization is involved in some aspect of operations management. And that's because organizations have to communicate, they have to plan, they very often have to problem solve. They're worried about they're rather concerned about many of the 10 strategic operations management decisions. I myself had a career in telecommunications. I managed telecommunications engineers, software engineers, various types of people. And it really wasn't until I got involved with the operations management program at the University of Arkansas that I realized that all of my adult working experience was more about operations management than anything else. And then I think what I've shown you here is a case. that even some of these very innovative companies like SpaceX and Tesla and others, companies where we see articles about technological breakthroughs and what the engineers and the scientists and the physicists are doing, but it's the operations managers who are making that happen. And I think that's reflected in a couple of the salary quotes that I went over in the presentation. So I think the outlook for operations management is really good, and I see that only continuing, especially in areas like project management, areas where as the world becomes more and more complex, we need more and more complex techniques to be able to make sense and manage all of it. And so that's my opinion anyway.
Randy, we have another question. This via email. Again, if you want to email a question to msomweb@uark.edu, please do so. This is a question from Fleet Lawrence. Mr. Roy, could you mention an example where you've had to balance speed to market with quality management?
Yes. I myself retired from FedEx. I was vice president of a group called Network Computing. So one of my last projects was when FedEx was developing a personal area network for our couriers. And basically what happens is the courier has a handheld device. It's a handheld computer. It's got a supermarket scanner on it. It has a database that has pretty much everything that you could want to know about FedEx. Like if you wanted to say, can I ship kumquats from Peru to India, something like that. And you would be able to get that information from this handheld device. You'd be able to price that service out, talk about how long it would take to get there, those kinds of things. At the same time, the personal area network had to connect that device to a belt mounted printer that the courier had on them. And it also had to communicate with the radio in the courier's van. And some of these couriers, they might be up in a building, far away from their van. But we wanted to use the van as a repeater and then send that data to our central computing facilities. Well, at the time that we did this, this was pre-Bluetooth. And but we knew that our competitors were working on similar types of devices. We wanted to be able to get a technological jump on them by doing this personal area network thing. And so we started doing basically taking two approaches. One was we were developing a proprietary short-range radio system. And the other was one of my managers was actually the chairman of the FCC committee to define the standards for Bluetooth. And but we could have waited on Bluetooth and done this a lot cheaper, but we went ahead and made the decision to go ahead and go with our proprietary design. What was the reason? In this case, we were more interested in speed to market. Being the first out to the market with that device gave us a big jump over our competitors in the eyes of our major customers. So there's an example of where speed actually trumped quality, because the quality didn't really come until we got the Bluetooth device. And because the Bluetooth device, the reason there was a lot of quality is that the economies of scale were so large, millions of Bluetooth devices almost immediately started being needed once they were produced. And FedEx then, we moved our production over to the Bluetooth world. So to me, that's one example. This is from Sam. Could you elaborate on how to equip oneself to meet the new age industry requirements for operations managers, such as an MSOM grad? Do you see newer models of operations given the pace of modernization? As far as new models of operations, I think of it more in terms of new innovative areas for operations management, like the two that I mentioned. Just a few years ago, I laughed at the idea of Amazon delivering packages for drones. And the reason why is the command and control to do that is enormous. The safety, the security issues of that are enormous. But Amazon's a big company, and they have the resources and the drive for innovation to figure that out. So, I really do see new areas that we're getting into. And then the other thing is a realization, and that's what I really tried to get through in my presentation today. When we thought about operations management 10 years ago, we thought a lot about manufacturing plants and how to line the machines up for the maximum efficiency and where we were going to locate our manufacturing plants or our storefronts or office facilities and things like that. And we still are concerned with all of that. But now there's becoming, I believe, a new recognition that operations management actually plays a big role in enabling innovation at one of these newer, exciting kinds of companies. And to me, the best example of that is Rich Ham's upcoming course in drone operations. It's not just Amazon that's interested in drones. Walmart's interested. A lot of other companies are interested. I believe you will see companies that aren't necessarily a retail kind of company providing drone services, but maybe a drone services company that does work for a lot of different types of retail establishments and other establishments. So I do believe that. Now, as far as equipping oneself for this new industry, I really recommend that our graduates get involved with APICS. We talked about that in the presentation. We offer a fairly new course in advanced project management, which really helps people to start getting prepared for the project management professional certification. I see certifications as being a really important part of the future to establish credibility. And anyway, I think operations management is going to really have a big impact on some of the exciting things that are going on in the business world coming up. Let's see. Zachary Wilbur, OM obviously is used in all industries, but how interchangeable can a person be from industry to industry? It seems as the principles are the same, however, operations and experience that are required can be different. And yes, I agree with that. Now, I myself am a graduate of this program, 1996. And the reason that I chose this program, the reason that I went into this program is that I had been at FedEx, I was the managing director at the time, for quite a while, and I was looking for a way to separate myself from my competition. Frankly, my goal was to become a vice president, and I did not have the educational background to get me there. My background in operations, though, has to do with like network operations and computer operations, things such as that, which are very different than the operations background in a industrial plant or manufacturing plant, for instance. I wasn't as concerned with things such as inventory, for instance, or certainly equipment placement and all that. However, all of the processes to achieve efficiencies, all of the decision-making skills and planning skills, all of that really carried over. And when I think of operations management, I really have a very broad view of that because of my past experience. And I will tell you this, our graduates, a number of them stay in contact with me for years after they graduate. A lot of them do very well in operations, whether it's somebody becoming an administrator for a hospital, someone who became a CEO for a large number of nursing homes, a person who became a general manager for a steel manufacturing plant, certainly some people that became executives at FedEx as well as Walmart. So there's just a number of different areas that you can go, and I believe that, like you mentioned, the principles are the same, and they translate really well into a lot of different areas. Okay, well, look, there being no further questions, if you come up with anything or have any further questions, do not hesitate to contact me. You can get me at wroy@uark.edu. You can get me through Mindy. And I appreciate it. Everybody have a great rest of the day. Thank you.